another elite couple that have, yes, I said, don't, I can see your faces, guys. They're another elite couple that are a great example of a Grihastha family. They, Sachinananda Prabhu has spent since his childhood with Srila Gurudev. When Srila Gurudev came to the West in Houston for the first time, he went to stay with Srila Gurudev in his home. And these two couples are always serving Vaishnavas, always taking time and going out of their way to serve. So I actually really, I've only got to know them over the last year or so, but I'm loving who they are as people, and I feel very inspired to do seva when I'm speaking to either one of them. So I'm gonna stop embarrassing you both, and I would like to introduce our dear god brother and dear god sister, Shriman Sachidanandam Prabhu and Srimati Haripriya Didi. You can choose the order.
Well, I don't have a choice because you just said you're going first. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, everyone. Yashodhari Didi, first of all, thank you for getting us up early on a Sunday morning. This is amazing. And to hear from the OGs, Yashodanand Prabhu, Budhara Prabhu, and then now I see Raghav Prabhu and Bhanu Didi, I feel so embarrassed. And everyone else, I don't know a lot of the devotees here, but I feel so embarrassed. I feel completely unqualified to speak on this platform. But it's so nice on a personal level to see all of you, because you have hosted me in your homes so graciously. I think in 2009, when I was preaching with, well, I wasn't preaching. I was just the extra with Chandramukhi. So brings back lovely memories. So, okay. I'm doing a bit of an improv as well, because I wasn't really sure how and what to speak, but hearing so many lovely things from Lalita Didi and Budhara Prabhu, I feel so inspired now to share my few experiences with Srila Gurudev. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaye Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Guruve Gaurachandaya Radhikaya Stadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Again, my Dandavat pranams onto the feet of all the assembled devotees here. And I beg for the mercy of Srila Gurudev that I can speak and glorify him even a little bit. So I can speak a little bit about how I met. I can't look at my face. I need to see something else. Let me look at your shoulder. Oh, I can't. Oh, I can't see anything else. I can't. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, Gurudev. So I was 12 when Gurudev came to New Zealand. I grew up in New Zealand. He came there for the first time. He had been to Fiji before that, so he was already in touch with the Punjas. And due to the mercy of the Punjas, they organized for him to come to New Zealand. And I remember it was in the year 2000, and he came. We saw, one of my family members saw like his flyer in like the Indian grocery store. And it was my auntie, and she brought it home. And my father actually recognized his name from when he had heard, I mean, he remembered his name from Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. And so he recognized that, oh, this is a senior Gaudiya Vaishnava. We must, from someone who knows and his associated with Srila Prabhupada. So we must hear from him. So we kind of anticipated Gurudev's arrival. And it was a couple months. And, I remember having this flyer on the fridge. And finally the day came, and he had like a whole week of Harikatha planned at like the Hindu temple, one of the oldest Hindu temples in Auckland. And the first day we went there, he actually wasn't there. Some of his senior disciples, some sannyasis were there, and they were speaking, but Gurudev wasn't there. He actually got delayed coming in from Hawaii. So I remember hearing Katha from his, I think it was like Priya Prabhu and so many other people, and was really blown away by like the Harikatha. My whole family was, and they I remember my parents thinking, like, if the disciples are speaking so like such high class Harikatha, like what is this caliber of their guru? So then the next day came, and then we went back, and there he was. I remember walking into the temple, and we could hear him before we saw him. And I just felt like, oh, this is Prabhupada. Like, this is Prabhupada's voice. And for some reason, I just like really felt like this is our Prabhupada. And then going in, there's so many people. The temple was very full of just kind of regular Hindu people, but it was like about 500 people there. You have to plug it in here. And we were sitting right at the back, like right where the entrance is, and we didn't actually go like, we heard the katha, and then we didn't actually go and meet Gurudev on that day, but we did meet a lot of we went Prempage and Prabhu, Aranya Maharaja at the time, and some other devotees, and they saw that my parents had tila, because we were already like going to ISKCON since I was a baby. So these devotees actually talked to my parents, and I remember Srimati Shamrani Didi, they needed some people to host devotees, and so I think Srimati Shamrani Didi at that time needed a place to stay. So we, we're kind of talking about that, and we were like, yeah, we can host anyone. And so that was kind of what happened on that day. But then the next day we got so busy because of like, we were hosting people, and then we had someone come over, so we actually didn't go the next day. And then the fourth day went back, so it was the second time we're seeing Srila Gurudev. And this day, again, we're sitting right at the back, but at the end of the katha, we saw that all the devotees are going up and touching Srila Gurudev's feet. And this was not something, you probably know that it doesn't happen in ISKCON, so we weren't used to it, but we're like, hey, everyone's touching his feet, let's go. And I remember telling my parents, like, hey, let's go, let's get our blessings as well. So we went all the way up. We went, after he spoke Harikatha, he was kind of walking through the crowd, and then we went right in front of him, touched his feet, and then he looked right at us. He looked right into my mother's eyes, and he said, like, kal kyun nahi aayi? Meaning, why did you not come yesterday? That was the first thing that he said to like my family and my mom. And we just didn't even know how to react, because the first day we came, we were right at the back. He has no idea who we are. Hundreds of people there. And then that was the first thing. He just like completely like claimed us, like right then in the first meeting, just, okay, that's exactly what happened. I think it was that night, we went home, and my parents said to my brother and I that we just want to tell you both that we are going to take initiation from him. And I was like, yeah, that, it just felt so perfect and so right. And, my parents had been in ISKCON for 15 years prior to that, and always searching for a guru, but never happened. So then, you know, just in this one meeting, it was like, you know, sold. So that was my first, you know, impression of Srila Gurudev. And then the next morning, actually, my parents went to the Punja's home where Srila Gurudev was staying, and early in the morning for their initiation. And we we went. There was no one there in the house, actually. These days it was quite like, you know, early days in New Zealand. It was the first, you know, time he was there. There was no one really. So we were there, and Srila Gurudev was in his room, and my parents went in to get their mantra, and me and my brother were sitting outside in like the living room, and then literally like few minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes into this you know, meeting behind closed doors, Brajanath Prabhu came out and he says, Srila Gurudev wants you both to come in as well. And we were just like, wow, that was quick. Okay. And we went in. And so my brother and I were like 12 and 13. We'll go in, and then Gurudev starts to give us initiation. He gave us Gopal Mantra. We're just, my brother and I, just looking at each other, thinking, what is happening? So yeah, he gave us Gopal Mantra, and then I was kind of thinking, do we get Harinam as well? It just happened. So it was like so spontaneous. I was so confused. I remember like walking out, and my brother just said, "This is what they warned us about." He's like a full on like ISKCON, you know, he's still very loyal to ISKCON, and he was like, "This is it." But yeah, you know, he loves Gurudev. But so there I was, you know, I had Gopal Mantra from Gurudev the day after, like, we met him. And then we invited him over for a lunch, like a day or two later. And when they found out that we're from South India, from Bangalore, Gurudev says, "Oh, I want to have dosa." Mom says, "Of course, anything." Then she was told that he doesn't take urad dal. It's not good for his diet. Dosa, I mean, if any of you know, like, has urad dal and rice are the two main ingredients in dosa. So my mom was thinking, okay, this is a bit of a challenge. He wants to have dosa, but he can't have urad dal. Fine, she decided to make it with chana dal. And so it's not the same. It doesn't ferment the same. And it's yellow. The dosa is different. It's not like fluffy and crispy. And so when we're serving, Gurudeva was over at the house, and when we were serving him, I remember, like, I think lunch was first, and then he spoke after. And and all the devotees came. It was like at least, I think 30, 40, and because we had family as well there. So it was like 30 or 40 people. And my mom was going crazy just making dosa for everyone. But then Gurudev had his like special dosa. They were yellow, and everyone else's was white. And he was sitting right in the middle of the living room, and everyone was sitting around him, and he was just having prasad with everyone. And he just looked really disappointed at what was on his plate. And he kept looking at everyone else's plate, and literally like that. And he asked, "Why is mine different?" And then my mom explained, like, "You can't have urad dal. This is a special dosa for you." Then he was quiet, completely quiet, but he wasn't happy. Like, he was just like he looked really grave, actually. And then it was almost the end of prasad, and like everyone was getting up, and Madhav Maharaj got up to use the restroom, and he walked out. Immediately, he's like, "Go and get me a regular dosa." And he's like, "I want what they're having." And my mom, you know, she's thinking like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" but you have to follow your Gurudev's instructions. So she went and she got him like a beautiful, like white, crispy dosa. And he was so happy. He was eating so quickly. And it was just really like crazy for everyone was just laughing. Everyone was seeing what's happening. Then Mother March came out and yeah, it was not pretty. It was like yelling at him. There was shouting going on. And then Gurudev's shouting back. And me and my family is just like, what's going on? We've never seen anything like this. The like awe and reverence that these ISKCON sannyasis had when they came over, and we had them over all the time. So different. And here's Madhamarj like just screaming at Gurudev, and then Gurudev screaming back, and then looking, and we're just feeling like, oh shoot, we're in trouble. And then Gurudev like sees us and says, don't worry, he's not Madhamarj, he's Dr. No. He's just Dr. No. No for everything. It was really funny. Yeah, so I think like just Gurudev stole our hearts like instantly with his dealings with his his devotees. It's so sweet. And the way he spoke to my mom, like just calling her Beti. And one thing is that he was always very partial to his daughters and called them in Hindi like with tu or tum, in a singular informal affectionate way. With my father, whose name is Krishna Kanta Das, but his previous name is Krishna Rama Rao, so he would call him Rauji. So with the G, and always saying Aap, which is a respectful address. So, but with his daughters, he was always like Tum. And so it's really sweet. And yeah. So then he spoke some katha, and after that, I remember I was videoing him, and I was right in front of him. I think he was about to leave, and he told me to put my camera down, and I did, because he looked at me and he was kind of serious. He put the camera down, listen to me. So I did, and then he asked me, what is bhakti? And I said devotion. I couldn't really answer. And then he looked at Srimati Shamanani Didi, who was standing right behind me, and he told her he said, you must teach her what is bhakti, anya bilashita sunyam. So then the next morning, she called me at like 4 or 5 in the morning. And, if anyone knows, everyone knows the way Shamarani Didi is and how seriously she takes all of Gurudev's instructions. And she drilled this verse in word for word, not only the verse, but the translation. Yeah, so, and then, had us recite it back to Gurudev, and he was very happy. So, yeah, I don't know, like what my time is. I think I'm probably going over. I have no idea, but just one small pastime. Gurudev came back not every year. Sometimes we met him in Australia, which was only a few hours away. And I think he came back, I think in 2007 or 8, this happened. Similar pastime where he was over at our house, and this time he was staying at our home. And the day he was leaving for the airport, we had this bowl of like honey roasted almonds in front of the altar that had just been offered, and Gurudev really liked those, but he wasn't allowed to have them because they're not super healthy, and he would only have like the soaked peeled almonds, and he knew that he's not allowed to have them. And, he's going to the airport, and he just took one. And I think everyone saw him take one, and he ate it, and it was fine. No one said anything. He liked it. So then when no one else is looking, he took a whole handful of them, just shoved it in his pocket very quickly. And he's like looking that, Bharjanath Prabhu and Mother Maharaja not looking. And my mom saw this. She told me about this later. And she was thinking, like honey roasted almonds, they're sugary, they're sticky. And he's about to go on a plane. Like he's gonna so she's like handing him like a serviette, like, please put it in this paper. And he's like, like, don't bring any attention to this. So he was always super sweet and playful. And like, one time he wanted to have like this soda. It was like this lime soda. I think it's called Lift. It might be available in the UK. And he wasn't allowed to have it, but he wanted to have it. And it was just really like cute over the years to see all these little, Gurudev being naughty. So I'm going to finish up. He, on a more serious note, he was always so encouraging with me, trying to get me to serve, to preach. And when I moved to Australia, he was so like fatherly and protective. He knew that I moved to Australia for uni, for college, and he would keep kind of tabs on me. He would tell me to like always be in association of Chandramukhi Didi and Ragleka Didi, and then every time I went there, he came there, he would ask, where is Rauji's daughter? Where is Rauji's daughter? And I would hear about this later if I'm coming to the festival late. And he was just so sweet and so loving, and always told me to preach. And like, I never really did, even though he even told me one time, after you finish your education, don't do service, in the sense, don't go to work, go and do prachar. And I feel like he had a lot of hope that I would serve him, but over the years I feel like I've never really made efforts to fulfill his desire and his instructions. But he keeps engaging me in over all these, after so many years. I still feel like, he hasn't, I may have forgotten, but he has not forgotten. He keeps coming and saying, do this, do that. I got married to Sachinanda. Our lives are super parallel. The Gurudev was coming to Houston like since 96, and Sachin was having his own like experience with Gurudev. And I think like even just getting married and just being in like the same environment, it was, again, this totally different story, but completely Gurudev's arrangement. And like, yeah, I was just saying about with seva, I feel like he's organizing the seva for me, like on a platter, like do this, do that. Like just now, Shamali has been here for 6 months and just completely engaging me more than I can handle, with her painting and just so many, digital things. And then the Yashodhari comes to me with, and Sulata with like this audiobook reading, because Gurudev knows how useless I am with like reading his books, and I'll like start a book, I won't finish it. So now I'm actually reading it and recording it. And for the seva, I'm actually actually engaging myself in my own purification. So I feel like, Gurudev, he's just so merciful that he just organizes everything. And anyway, I'm gonna finish. I'm sorry, I'm just like rambling, and yeah. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
We love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Haripriya Didi, my cheeks are actually just hurting of complete laughter. I love that.